So I'm on the steep incline walking home. Decided to come back on. How's everyone doing? Kaleidoscope Klan, this is Mariposa Ma'at. And yeah, I was just thinking about some things, decided to share my thoughts. So this situation with P Diddy, right?
Oh.
I would think that it would make everyone rethink mainstream black culture, because it pretty much is evidence that the culture that they feed to black people in America is demonic, right? I mean, I've actually heard black people talking about freeing P Diddy, and you know, that the people who went to the parties were consenting adults, but they weren't. We're talking about the fact that they had children dressed up, right? So the point is that, I mean, besides just listening to the words of all the music, it's anti-life, it's anti-love, and it's not okay for these things to be pushed in a, I'm gonna start this, in a public arena for any people. But I myself, I went to Howard University where P Diddy was at the same time, and I enjoyed dancing and stuff like that, but I was not attracted to the party life past dancing a few hours and going home. I also didn't go to any of the Freakniks, and that was by choice, because I heard about how people were out in the streets having sex and stuff like that, and that goes way beyond the idea of what a party is supposed to be for me, you know. At Howard, these things were not going on that I knew of publicly, but of course it corrupted many people who went there innocently, just wanting, you know, who were following A Different World television show, you know. We wanted to be able to be in a place where we could socialize and not feel the energies of racism and, you know, those things being a challenge academically also. You know, just wanting to be happy and free. But I found myself dancing to, you know, demonic lyrics. I also went to a Long Beach school, and my ex-boyfriend at the time, he was a rapper at Poly High. I mean, you know, he didn't become it professionally because he followed me to Howard. But, you know, I remember when I was at Howard and The Chronic came out, you know, and I remember the song, I don't know what the title of it is, but when they say, it ain't no fun if the homies can't have none, right? And that was talking about, you know, a guy wanting his girlfriend to have sex with his friends, right? So very nasty lyrics. And don't get me wrong, when it came out, I was dancing to the music for sure with everyone else. It wasn't until I, you know, really thought about it, probably a year or two in, where I was like, I don't want to dance to these lyrics. And so I stopped. And even now today, if I'm dancing and any music that comes on that doesn't agree with my values comes on, I stop dancing. I sit my ass down and wait, because people will get the wrong ideas, and I don't want to support that kind of music. You know what I mean? And I'm from Compton. You know, everyone wants to be proud of where they're from. But yeah, that's where Dr. Dre is from. And Long Beach, they talk about Long Beach and Compton. I went to Long Beach schools. So I am a product of Compton and Long Beach. However, I was never down with that ish. No. However, I will say that I had boyfriends that were, and that is one of the life lessons that I've had, is that all of the men that I've been with who were from the streets, they were a serious problem. That street mentality, that street life, like they don't get out of it, you know what I'm saying? Because they were normal to me, you know. I considered myself to have slim pickings because my parents did not support me financially, where I qualified to be, you know, one of the elites. But I didn't want to be. I was really disgusted by like the Jack and Jill groups, and which I was a part of, until my parents had financial issues, and so we didn't stay in Jack and Jill. We couldn't afford it. You have to pay a lot of money for that. So Jack and Jill, I didn't want to do a debutante ball. I saw my friend do it and it looked ridiculous to me with what, the links, right? I basically went against what my parents wanted. They wanted me to go to an Ivy League school, and I had been around white people my whole life. Like, I went to a really upscale private school, elementary. Junior high, I got into a what do they call it, a special program that was for gifted, right? And so there was me, and there was one other girl, black girl, who was in that group. Then, you know, and I stayed in the gifted classes. When I got to high school, I was in cheer, and then I was the president of my school and all those things. And whenever you get in those levels, you're only around white people. Like, there might be one or two other black people. There would be like 40 or 50 white people, which, you know, I had nothing against them, but I felt very limited. I felt definitely, when you're interested in people, you know, as far as dating, it becomes an issue. You know, it's not that cool. And I was still living in Compton and walking through Compton and Long Beach to get to school every day, and would have to pass all the gangsters, drug dealers, and just normal street guys, right? So I felt like I had to have a street guy, because I wasn't street. So I need a street guy with me who could be street smart, who could protect me. Like, that's what I wanted more than anything, was protection. Like, that's what I was attracted to, someone who could protect me, right? So it really set me up for, you know, the disrespectful, dishonest, low-class behavior of the mainstream black man. And I mean, even the men who had money were still following the street culture, because, you know, as they were talking about keeping it real, and, you know, with Snoop, it's all good, and it's not all good. A lot of it is fucking fucked up, you know what I'm saying? So I was attracted, you know, to the Tupacs like everyone else. But look what happened to Tupac. You know what I'm saying? Did we learn that lesson? He learned the lesson, you know, probably right as he was going out. He was learning the lesson. But I'm 53 now, and I'm looking at the legacy of my peers who have gone down that road, glamorizing all of that. Now looking back, I see that a lot of the men are gay. They really don't like women. The misogynistic thing, you know, has resulted in men loving each other more than women. And thus and so, the whole, you know, pride thing has more levels to it than what people want to talk about, because so many people have been turned out in gangs and athletic teams and hip-hop. Look at P Diddy, right? Like, if their aim is to turn out people who want to be upwardly mobile, right? Yeah, I mean, money, people who have the love of money can change what they're attracted to if money is attached to it, right? So I just want to express, as far as I'm concerned, you know, I live in a whole nother country now, and even when I moved to Africa, that was a big part of it. I didn't want my children growing up around the culture, because I studied psychology, and I knew that if people grow up listening to music that has unhealthy lyrics, that will hypnotize you into thinking that it's cool. And that's where we are right now. I mean, blaxploitation existed, you know, even before. Of course, they had negative lyrics before, in the 70s and the 60s. I'm sure going all the way back to slavery, when they first started raping black men. Anyway, all of these things existed. You know, all the elite secret society sacrificing and, you know, raping people. You know, it was a normal thing, and this is just the expression that we're dealing with today. But it's so exposed now. Like, children are now, like babies in America, are having sex, and it's being encouraged, not necessarily openly, but by promoting sex in the streets the way the Pride movement has, and promoting conversation in an inappropriate way, or them exposing children to men who are cross-dressing as kink, and not as, you know, because they just feel it deep in their bones. No, there's a lot of money to be made by these people, you know what I'm saying? So we have to take care of our people, and there have to be words of wisdom. There have to be elders somewhere. I mean, I'm 53, and when I turned 50, I decided, okay, I accept being an elder. So this is something that I am saying, is that mainstream black culture is demonic, and it should not be allowed to be promoted publicly. What people do privately, whatever, but nothing with those kinds of lyrics should be accepted in a public place. Now, before I came to Mexico, I was living in Atlanta, and Atlanta is full of decadence. It is known to be like Chocolate City today. When I went to Howard, it was Chocolate City at that time, until they pushed all the black people out. But Atlanta has remained to be known as, you know, a black city. And along with that comes the fact that it is known for its strip clubs. It's known for trap music, which literally means that people are trapped in hell, right? The kinds of things that they talk about are not things that anybody should be listening to, but it shouldn't be allowed for children to be listening to. Now, when I was in Atlanta and my daughter came to visit me, I was going to take her for a special treat to go to Cascade roller rink. And they have different days. They have a day or certain hours and times for children. They have certain hours and times for teenagers, and they have certain hours and times for adults. So I took my daughter to the children's, and I cannot express the level of disgust that I had that they were playing the same adult lyrics about drugs and sex. And I found myself in a quagmire because my daughter knew the lyrics because she had been around her father, and they had no boundaries in that household. So it's like normally I would complain, but the place was hyped. Like, parents and children were dancing together to these songs, and it was obvious, it was apparent that that's exactly part of what Cascade was popular for. And I had no idea that I thought it was more for skating. I didn't know that it was for the decadence. So I apologized to my daughter, and I just went ahead and stayed, even though I felt I was very torn about it, because I didn't want to. We took great lengths to get there. I didn't want to ruin her time, but I explained to her my disgust, and I guess I just had to leave it at that, because she's going to return back to it, to a place where they listen to it that anyway. So I just had to tell her that I was against it. So it's very disturbing that at the very highest levels that these things are promoted and pushed. I am disgusted that we're still talking about Diddy on this level, because it's like whether he'll be free or not. Because in a just world, the people would have taken care of Diddy. Okay? Like, he should be afraid to get out in a just world. You shouldn't feel like if he were free that it would all be good. Despite the fact of the rumors of him killing his wife and so many other people, having them executed because he could, and because he is an executive in the music industry, which is very nasty and dirty. So these are the things. It's a really serious problem because Black people are very talented in music, and it is one area where African Americans should easily shine, and we do, but it's not promoted in the correct way. So I would just posit to you, whoever you may be, that you should not listen to music that do not agree with your values. And if you find yourself listening to violent music or disrespectful music or hateful music or what's the word, sexually explicit and nasty, level up, please. We need people to lessen up, to level up, because if there is no leveling up, we can just expect that the situation in America will get even more dangerous, even more deplorable than it already is. And I'm speaking for the babies, the ones who still have a chance at life and who still have a chance at experiencing love and happiness in their life, not whatever people are doing right now. Okay, so I think that's all that I have to say right now. Thank you for your attention, and this is Mariposa, encouraging you to continue to embody the sacred transformation